Welcome. We're going to cover active reading and the SQ3R method. Our goals for today are to look at what is active reading, what is the SQ3R active reading method, and how can you become an active reader today. In terms of background information, you've already read quite a bit. You've been a reader for a very long time. Since you were in early elementary school, you've learned more and more about how to become a more competent reader over the years. Today's presentation should give you even more information to help you with that path. So what is active reading? Active reading is where readers apply strategies to get more involved in their reading so that they can do a better job at reading. There are typically three goals that readers share: reading efficiently, increasing their reading rate, and understanding more of what they need. These are the things that we're going to try to address, are these three goals. So how is active reading used? Particularly in online school, the classes are very heavy in how much that you have to read. So students need to use strong study skills, including active reading. Skimming and scanning definitely have their uses, but to be active readers, you need to know when to skim and scan, when to pay close attention to the details of the reading. So where does a student use active reading methods? Active reading is an active tool for learning. By active reading, students can read faster, improve their reading comprehension, speed their study times before exams, and improve understanding in grades. Oftentimes when I talk to students and they tell me that they're having problems in class, it's one of these problems: not being able to move fast enough, not being able to understand the material, not studying well enough, or having low grades. So if you use active reading, you can handle a lot of these issues. Here's how SQ3R works. You start off with the S, which is for survey. By surveying, what you're doing is just familiarizing yourself with what it is that you're about to read. Let's say that you're going to work on a particular chapter for a science class, and so what you want to do is you want to just flip through that chapter. You're not doing any actual reading yet. You're just looking over the information, seeing what the graphics are, seeing if there are videos included, what are the how many pages that are included, things like this. Just get yourself familiar with what it is that you have coming up to read. That actually tends to make people more comfortable with reading as they're going through their material. The next step is question, for Q. This is where you're going to answer a series of questions about each paragraph as you're going through your reading. You'll also do this in conjunction with taking notes. So you need to be able to answer questions like, what is the paragraph about? What is the main idea? What facts support it? And what do I need to know to do well in this lesson? Any kind of clues that you've received from your teacher or from previous lessons or previous assignments or exams or anything like that, you can definitely apply to this step here. You want to be able to answer all of these questions about every paragraph as you're working through your material. Now we go to the 3 R's. With read, you want to make sure that you actually do all of the reading. Sometimes students will skip around, they'll skip a couple of pages or a couple of paragraphs thinking that they're speeding up their study time. But what they're really doing is making sure that they don't understand what's going on because they're not getting all the information. So make sure you do all the reading. As you're doing the reading, make sure that you're taking notes on the main ideas and their support. Those are really important pieces to look for: main ideas and their support. Your purpose here is to make sure that you learn that material and not just get through it in a certain period of time. Next, you're going to review. After you've done all of your reading and you've taken your notes, you need to review your material. You're going to review those notes on a weekly basis throughout the semester. Look for themes, look for connections between lessons. Practice makes perfect, so do lots and lots of review as you're going through your material. And then finally, you're going to recite. This is where you make sure that you totally understand that material. To ensure that you remember what you read, recite your information in your own words. You can do this in writing by including a summary in your notebook, or you can recite it back verbally to another person. What you want to do is make sure that you're keeping it in your own words. Make sure that you can explain this information. If you can explain your information, that typically means that you understand it pretty well. Let's take a look at vocabulary for a second. If you can't read what it is that you're going through, you can't understand it. Context clues do have their place, but you cannot use only context clues as a reading strategy. You also have to use your dictionary, and you also have to learn more words. The English language has about 500,000 words. Now, people don't use all of these words on a daily basis, but we use enough of these words in our classes so that you do have to constantly expand your vocabulary to be able to perform well. Make sure that you're constantly improving your vocabulary by continuously learning new words from everything you read. If you learn one new word per day, your vocabulary will increase tremendously over the period of high school. So, where do people use the SQ3R method? College students use this on a daily basis. This is the most accepted method to use in college, particularly for incoming freshmen who need some really great study tools to be able to use to survive that first year. Researchers also use this method so that they can manage information as they're working through large amounts of material. As well, editors, news reporters, and business communication directors will also use this to complete their jobs. Because their jobs require so many different kinds of tasks, they have to use active reading methods to stay on top of them. Questions that students sometimes come up with. Do students have to use this one method? Not necessarily, although this is a method that incorporates so many great pieces from active reading that this is really one of the best. Can students use this method with the PRP method? Yes, there are actually parts of the PRP method that are integrated within the SQ3R method, so they can be used in conjunction. Can this method help people with learning disabilities? Absolutely. If you have a learning disability that particularly deals with reading or reading comprehension, this method might be very useful to you in helping to handle that as you're going through your material. What are students expected to do? You're expected to read everything that's assigned to you. You're expected to apply an appropriate reading method to each situation. Make sure that you understand what you read, and always ask for help when you need help. At this point, what you should be able to do is understand what active reading is, know the SQ3R active reading method, and be ready to be an active reader today. I hope that this information is helpful to you in improving your reading.